this is from a couple of days ago, where Putin was basically showing like, hey, let's put our Zoom on publicize it. Do we have that clip of Putin?
What are you talking about?
When his intelligence secretary got up, remember we talked about that? And just to give you a sense, the billionaire oligarchs have their money because of Putin. And the dynamic is not that they're going to pressure Putin. I think, if anything, if there's going to be any outside or internal force that's going to stop Putin, it's probably going to be more a military type of situation.
Yes. Well, I mean, also Putin, according to some of the people we interviewed last week, he spent years attempting to sanction-proof Russia's economy to isolate them a bit from what's happening. And so, like, the oligarchs are protected to some degree, even though they have lost billions over the past week or so. Right.
But this is a good opportunity to maybe go after all the billionaires. Like we start with the Russian billionaires and let's just move our way to do all the billionaires.
And have all these conversations right now.
Exactly.
And the reason that they they were sheltered, many Russian oligarchs, by Europe's and the United States' terrible tax systems that allow for billionaires globally to hide a lot of their money and get away with the hoarding all these billions.
Campaign finance.
Yes.
And listen, I think the best way for us to show that we're not just targeting, Bradley, we're not just targeting Russian oligarchs, is to seize the assets of all billionaires. And I think that is, honestly, like this is, well, here, I just want to show this. This is a clip from a week ago. It gives you a sense. Apparently, the guy speaking is an intelligence secretary and who has been working with Putin for decades. Like, this is a buddy. This is basically like, and watch how Putin just sort of like humiliates this dude for even raising anything that is in some way like slightly divergent from what Putin wants here.
О том, что нашим, так сказать, западным партнерам можно дать
we can give our Western partners one last chance.
С тем, чтобы предложить им в кратчайшие сроки заставить Киев пойти на мир и выполнить Минские соглашения.
In other words, they can sign up for the Minsk Agreement one more time.
То решение, о котором сегодня говорится.
Значит, в противном случае вы предлагаете начать переговорный процесс?
Нет, я...
Okay, pause it for a second. Now, the Minsk Agreement, Ukraine has sort of backed off, and the West has sort of backed off this agreement.
Yeah,
failed to uphold it in terms of the relationship. After Russian separatists took essentially the eastern part of Ukraine, and Russia took Crimea. This would have been sort of the equilibrium. And this guy is basically
he's shitting his pants right now. Yeah,
he's shitting his pants because he is having the audacity of saying,
yes,
hey, let's see, now's a good time for them to sign on to the Minsk Agreement. And Putin is like, no. And just go back a little bit. It is.
And that's why the NATO conversation too, it set up the conditions for this, but it's like way past the point of where Putin is in this for imperialism in and of itself at this point.
Here we go.
В противном случае мы
in the worst case, we have to make the decision we are discussing today. In other words, worst case is war. What does that mean in the worst case? Are you suggesting we start negotiations?
Нет, я...
No. Or recognize sovereignty?
Говорите прямо.
Я поддержу предложение о признании.
Поддержу или поддерживаю? Говорите прямо, Сергей.
Поддерживаю предложение.
Так и скажите, да или нет.
Да? поддерживаю предложение о вхождении Донецкой и Луганской народных республик в состав Российской Федерации.
Да, мы об этом не говорим, мы этого не обсуждаем. Мы говорим о признании их независимости или нет.
Да, я поддерживаю предложение о признании независимости.
Хорошо, пожалуйста, садитесь. Спасибо.
Thanks.
Владимир
Thanks.
Александрович.
Take your seat.
Here, a little pat on the head. Bye-bye now.
But I mean, it was like, you know, the idea that you're talking about negotiations here, the independence for those two regions. And this is a guy he's worked with for 20 years. Like there's nobody who's going to, intimidate Putin at this point or even question him. And that's the dynamic that's going on here. It's scary. It's really scary.
When he sat forward like that, he was going down. Yeah. I mean, I'm not laughing. I'm just laughing at that guy, like, but it's a terrifying situation, obviously.
I mean, we'll talk more about this with Dust, but I think there's just like a lot of assumptions that have been made on all sides that were completely wrong. I think the Ukrainians never thought that Putin would do this because they know how absurd it is. He can't occupy. I mean, the idea that he's going to come in and literally kill Zelenskyy and replace him with a sort of a puppet regime seems to me like when they invaded Czechoslovakia decades ago now, 68, I think it was it 68 that they came in, or was that the Czechoslovakian just revolted at that point? Well, I think it was with the Czechoslovakia. They came in 68. There was, they had 250,000 troops, if I remember correctly. Czechoslovakia is a small country, incidentally. And
68.
And I would imagine their military was also like, they just fought a world war 20 years earlier. There was a lot of institutional memory there of success. I don't think they're in a position to control a country.
Yeah.
And so I think people were like, there's no way they're coming in here and doing something like that.
The Onion headline was U.S. shocked Russia would invade another country after seeing how badly America's recent invasions went.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think Putin, he had these assumptions about that he was going to be greeted with candy and flowers.
Right, to denazify from like the far right elements that are there, and he overestimated the amount of pro-Russian sentiment even in the like regions that tilt towards him, like Kharkiv.
I think so. It's pretty clear, and I think, frankly,
or tilt towards that, I should say.
Everyone probably underestimated Zelenskyy.
Yeah.
Well, watch this. Let's put this video up. Did you guys play this one? Where this is from Friday, and I really am struck by this guy. He's 40. There is a difference between like the communication skills of younger people, of digital natives.
And he's as an actor. He was an actor before this, so he has a way of communicating that's, I think, like very helpful in this crisis situation, plus the fact that he's sticking around.
Versus Putin trying to do some weird apprentice style like takedowns of his advisors.
Yes.
Yeah, humiliating them publicly.
I mean, if you're in show business, I would say take 10 years off of your age in terms of your digital, of your social media savvy. And so this guy's got this, the savvy of a millennial, I think, when it comes to social media. I mean, you look at like this idea, like he knows how to perform the president
how he's
thing coming off,
because he literally did that.
But this is not,
and it's not just performative. I just mean like it's also incredibly brave, but it's the optics that are necessary during wartime and an invasion.
But someone in a different generation thinks we can't do a selfie. That doesn't look presidential. And you know, like when you look at like, you know, and apologies to me and people my age and older, when you look at older people when they're doing a selfie, it's like, look at me, I'm doing a selfie. Mm-hmm. Like there's this quality of like, you know, when cell phones first came out, you'd get calls from people going like, you can't believe where I'm calling you from. I'm calling you from my car. And it's like, oh my God,
right.
Who cares? I got nothing to talk to you about, but I just want you to know I'm calling from a car.
So sick.
There's a quality of selfies that are done by people who are not digital natives. Mm-hmm. That is just like, you know, like, I can't believe I'm doing a selfie. He knows like the issue is not that he's doing a selfie. The selfie doesn't make it like most presidents.
I mean, you're even saying it's doing a selfie. Like I just
exactly,
right,
exactly.
Right. You're proving
most
your point.
Presidents would say, I'm not going to take a selfie. It's going to seem unpresidential. So just here, watch this. This is pretty, I think this is, you know, impressive. And the problem it's creating for Putin is that like, it's done. Like
right.
He could take out Zelenskyy now, but Zelenskyy is going to live further than this.
Всім добрий вечір. Лідер фракції тут, голова офісу президента тут, прем'єр-міністр Шмигаль тут, Подоляк тут, президент тут. Всі ми тут, наші військові тут, громадяни суспільства тут, всі ми тут. Захищаємо нашу незалежність, нашу державу. Так буде і далі. Слава нашим захисникам, слава нашим захисницям. Слава Україні.
Yeah, and so also when the fact that he's clearly, you know, on the ground, it's doing a bit guerrilla style adds to it as well. I'm in this with you. I'm in this with you.
Yep.
And so like, and there isn't the, you know, old school presidenting that you talk about where it's like you're above holding your phone to communicate directly with people. It feels more intimate.
Kind of relatedly, there's a article in The Guardian. The first TikTok war, how Russia's influences are in Russia are and Ukraine are responding. Some of Russia's biggest names in the digital war sphere have spoken out against the war. The daughter of Dmitry Peskov, Vladimir Putin's press secretary, posted a message reading "No to war" on her Instagram story before quickly deleting it. Max Galkin, the husband of Ella Pugacheva and one of Russia's biggest stars, posted a black square on Instagram and the message "No to war" to his 9.4 million followers. It's just interesting. There's a couple other instances of this too.
The tennis star who wrote on the camera, that's like another viral moment that's going to just chip away at this.
And there's also been on Twitter, like you're seeing some like, you know, Russian public intellectuals who've said this as well. And one of my fears, and this is something we'll talk to Dus about, is that, and I mentioned this earlier, that if there's an opportunity to give Putin an off-ramp, you know, so that he can pull back and there's, you know, with saving face, I worry that NATO, the West, may see like, well, maybe there's an opportunity here to not give him an off-ramp, make him go forward and see if domestic pressure weakens Putin. Domestic Russian pressure.
Yeah.
And I worry about that. That is the road to escalation. And hopefully that doesn't happen. But it's not hard for me to believe that there aren't people in our government and other governments, Western governments, who want to take advantage of this to weaken Putin. And that's scary.
The panic is over oil prices though right now, which it might deter them from wanting to like elongate this for a slow bleed out of Putin. There's going to be, I mean, the fact that Biden seems unable to move Saudi Arabia is an issue, especially in the short term. He's going to take a hit domestically. They're already getting, I mean, you missed this last week, but this is domestic drilling, more domestic drilling. This is the drumbeat that's going to happen from both centrist and right-wing media. So withstanding that, I don't know. I think some leaders are going to be in a panic. Europe too, based on their Russian oil dependence.